It sounds fairly, it kind of, what I heard in that is like, it's a bridge. So you start with people that are really vulnerable and, very much need to be poured into and to be protected. And then you kind of guide them to autonomy. It's kind of what I heard in everything you just described, which leads me to my next question about the fact that Lift Up the Vulnerable was originally a relief organization. And now it's pivoted towards development. And I think I'm really excited about this question because I think that's really what the platform Emanate is really about, is promoting development and how do we really help people to become autonomous. And I think sometimes there can be this disconnect for relief organizations that have sort of a way of doing things, and they want to address kind of those visible, simple problems like food or housing or water that you think are just simple, but they're actually under the surface are very complex and require more, I think, a different process than what's been offered before. And so I would love to hear from you, how has that transition been to pivot or to move from being relief focused to development focused? Because you have a bit of both in what you do. And so I'd love to hear more about how that transition has been and what you've learned and what you're learning and how you foresee that continuing to unfold.
Well, yeah, I think as Lob just mentioned, the three key pillars, when we talk of, when someone talks of a vulnerable person, one of the first things which comes into one's mind is, protection. Mm-hmm. But then protection is, safety is nothing without other models of ensuring that there is a long-term solution to the vulnerability. And therefore, that's how we have come up with, with the education as one of the key pillars. And education will enlighten one, and education will create a chance for one to fit in the society. And more so because of the disadvantages with the vulnerable people, then the economic empowerment aspect comes in, so that when that vulnerable leaves, he or she is a whole person. Mm-hmm. There isn't any other probably ripples of the vulnerability penetrating in again. And that's why we can't emphasize on economic empowerment more. It's critical. But then coming also to your question on the need to change from relief to some sort of empowerment model, history, and for the many years we've worked in the war zones, has taught us that relief is not a solution to vulnerabilities. Relief is just supposed to be for a short period of time, a short while. Relief is good for disaster. Relief is good when you just want to achieve results, probably short-term results. But then history and the long term we've been in the war zones has proved otherwise, that the best way we can be able probably to make sure that we have people going out who are, what I would say, insulated against the vulnerabilities, is to empower them with some skills where they can be able to go to use, they can be able to use those skills on in the markets. They can use them even to change the narratives in their countries, because we are working in the war zones. Remember, probably I can say no one is living now in South Sudan, probably, and to some extent in Sudan, who was not born in war. So there is a lot of aspect of trauma. These people have depended on relief for so long that it's like an entitlement. But what Lift Up the Vulnerable is doing is changing that narrative by introducing other models of enlightening the vulnerable children and women, and making sure that there is not only a change in them, but also a change in the communities. Because if you just change the children and the women, then without also any impact in the surrounding community, then the impact might not be so much felt. And therefore, Lift Up the Vulnerable has come up with several measures to ensure that they are taking care of the vulnerabilities, and there are many other also benefits. We are equipping our children with technical skills. We are teaching them on business models. We are empowering the community through women who have never been to school. And it's also going to give statistics and understand that over 75% of the South Sudanese and people in Nova Mountains are illiterates. They do not know how to read and write. And so empowering such women to be productive in a war zone is just an amazing thing. And